it's great seeing you, man. Where are you as we speak?
I'm in Newfoundland. I'm at home.
Oh, how's the weather out there, man?
Today is actually beautiful. So it's about 10 degrees, but
Uh,
it's slowing up slowly.
I love it. Well, you probably knew that I was in Halifax, Nova Scotia, and for the Junos. And I got to tell you something, man. That part of the world I've never been to,
Mm.
and I got to tell you, man, folks up there so friendly. Weather is great, but I can't take y'all hills. those
Yeah.
those those like where you are, do you they have those steep hills like they have
Oh
in
yeah.
Halifax?
Yeah, there's tons.
How do y'all do it? I'm watching old women in heels just
Mm.
trotting up, no problem. I'm just like, where's the cab? Help me,
Yeah,
man.
right.
How do y'all do it?
It's just you start doing it from when you're a kid, you can start to walk. So I guess you get used to it pretty quick.
Man, you guys should be in the Olympics for the marathons. We win all the time. But when we're talking about marathon, man, that's you when it comes to music because you just keep pumping them out and pumping them out. Look, before we start talking about the new music that's happening, man, what has been going on with you for the last year for inspiration leading up to what we're going to talk about?
Well, the my last album, Time Traveler, came out last March, and I was very lucky to have a great response on that one. I had over 5 million streams and a CCMA nomination for Alt Country Album of the Year, and I just won the ECMA actually this past weekend for Country Recording of the Year. So, um, yeah, that was that one was a big project, and that was took up for about two it took about 2 years to get that all out and released, and it was a big one. And then so after that was done, I started getting the itch pretty quick to start working on new music. And I wasn't really sure what direction to go at first, because Time Traveler was such a 90s classic country kind of style. And I wasn't sure exactly if I wanted to go down that road again. I mean, I love 90s country, and that's what I grew up with. And it's just that I think I wanted to try something a little different. So I went back to my East Coast roots, and I kind of intertwined that with that kind of classic country sound to try to get a little bit more of a folk um, theme kind of an album, because it's definitely a huge part of my inspiration as an artist on the East Coast as well. So and then so started working on that one in the middle of last year, and it just came out yesterday, May 10th, or
You know,
this past week.
it's funny that you say that because lately I've been watching a lot of. I've got now. I changed my TV stuff and whatever, and I've been watching a lot of retro videos from like 80s, 90s, and 2000s. I forgot how many Canadian East Coast artists that were huge during the late 90s and early 2000s with the fiddle and everything else, and crossing into popular mainstream music. Can you talk about that era for yourself growing up and listening to this stuff?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not sure how CBC works when it comes to their TV, like broadcasting across Canada. But I know growing up on the East Coast, especially, there were a ton of specials that used to come on pretty often with East Coast artists, well, Rita and Friends was a big one,
Yeah.
that was on like every week. And then you had the Rankin Family, and oh Lord, there's so many of them. Stompa Tom was East Coast. I mean, um, just went on and on. And I mean, I just remember having that influence right from young, especially the Rankins. I mean, they were huge for us.
Oh,
I mean, we listened to them all the time, and they were on the radio all the time. And at that point, in the early '90s, I think it was a huge resurgence of that kind of folk East Coast kind of a sound that was just, had a wave across Canada and the US, and like Great Big Sea as well. I mean, that was a huge one. They were huge as well, and so I mean, they were such a huge influence on me. I mean, I remember sitting down with the VCR and a blank tape recording the specials when they used to come on the TV so I could watch them later. And man, yeah, so I can't even put into words like how important that was for me as an artist. Like, 'cause, I mean, we listened to country all the time growing up, and my family sang a lot of country, but they also sang a lot of Celtic, and that's I got a lot of influence from them and my family growing up as well. And so yeah, it was music was huge around that time. East Coast music and just music in general in regards to for me anyway in my life and my family's life, and which is really seems like that's what like the world revolved around music and the new songs you can get to play the following weekend, you know, just try to find the new music that people would love to hear at a party, and we did that all the time. It was a blast,
You know,
definitely.
for the very first time, as soon as we started talking about 90s East Coast, is the first time I've heard your East Coast accent. I've never heard it before, and it just kicked in there. Oh my goodness. But what's really cool is, like I said, man, you got a new EP representing. So let's get to it and make it official. What is the new EP called, and how does it represent your career right now?
It's called the Deadwood, and it's a 6 song EP that just came out, and yeah, it's like I said, it's just a little more of a uh, East Coast kind of a flair on on country music, on how I see country music, and I mean, I feel like it's called, I think it's called the Deadwood because deadwood is something you cut out of a tree so that it'll grow more, and so basically I named it the Deadwood because it's, you know, I'm kind of pruning out parts of and releasing to the world parts of me that may not have been you know, touched on before. So it's definitely if you listen to the album, you're going to hear that a little bit of that you know, East Coast uh, beat and just a driving tunes with some fiddle and some mandolin and but still it's still kind of, you know, blends in with bluegrass and folk Americana, and even, you know, it's not completely traditional. It's just it does have a modern kind of a vibe to it as well. So it's yeah, it's just another little bit of a aspect of me as an artist, and something I wanted to try out for an album.
What's the latest single out right now? What's it about?
It's called Thousand Mile Grin, and it's kind of a throwback to when I went to Nashville and was, you know, was doing meetings and doing stuff down there, and you know, it takes time, and you know, they said if you want to make it in Nashville, you have to live there. So my wife and my kids were here in Newfoundland, and because I didn't want to move them just up you know, out of the blue and without any solid contracts or anything like that. So um, so when I was you know, I was there for a while. I was there for months at a time at certain points, and I'm like, you know, it's I think it's time for me to just go back home and do my thing from home with my family, and you know, I've never ever regretted that. And this song is pretty much about, you know, just going back home, just being happy to get back to my wife, and just called it's called Thousand Mile Grin, and that's what I had on the way home. Pretty just happy
Well,
to get
what
back to. Yeah.
so how can we get you to leave the family and tour and get back down here in Ontario and the rest of Canada? Any chance that's going to happen this summer?
Yeah, I'm actually one of the headliners for Boot Hill Jamboree in Bothwell, Ontario, which is going to be which is great. Yeah, August 2nd, and yeah, and then we're working on some new stuff now, but that's the biggest one this summer. I've got a bunch of other shows as well on the East Coast, and you know, you can check out all those dates on my website, jasonbevelmusic.com.
So cross fingers, man. I'm gonna get a chance to see you this summer in person.
Yeah, I hope so.
Oh man, that's going to be fantastic. Look, brother, I'm going to let you go, but I want to say congratulations with this new EP. Love where you're going. Congrats on once again being an award winner. Like that's no surprise, man. But I love the journey that you're
Appreciate it, man.
doing, and thank you for allowing me to be part of this journey and helping document everything you're doing.
Oh,
Congrats.
100%, man. Thanks for your support. You've always been a great supporter, man. I really appreciate it. I do.